What's up, guys? Got my package from Q came in. Got some new toys. So first one is the new cherry bomb part of the two-piece flash hider setup. So if those aren't familiar, the 5.56 comes with this two-piece flash hider. And I'll kind of go into detail what that looks like, how it's designed. But basically they made a cherry bomb part for it. The front tip can be a cherry bomb. Actually, previous to this, I've been using a standard cherry bomb. I like these. I think this taper design's awesome. You know, for like any can to just hub setup, I think it's freaking phenomenal and easy and badass. So I like sacrificial blast baffles too. I rocked the 3-prong for a little bit and then noticed some pretty heavy wear on the inside of my baffle. It's actually not on this can, on another can of mine. And from that moment on, I decided that I was going to use a sacrificial blast baffle, and certain things I like about this as a whole, and I'll kind of break that down later. But yeah, anyways, we'll get into the whole shit of this in a little bit. And of course, I got some cool stickers. The main show of the whole thing is the new two-piece design and the packaging for that. So we'll break this down in just a sec. Alright, cut with movie magic. Anyways, so this is the new two-piece Honey Badger upgrade kit, right? I know some people thought it was a lot of money, and I'm not saying it is or isn't, but, you know, here we are. I think if it fixes a lot of the bolt bounce and everything, then it's worth it. You know what? This is crooked. It's fine. So we have the new coil spring. So if you want to compare it to the old Noveske one, this is the Noveske one, not the Q one, which is a subtle difference, but it's not a huge difference. The inner diameter of this jam is different between the Noveske and the Q ones. And so, or maybe there was just an era differential, but I have a couple of these and they don't all fit the same. So then you get the conversion kit pieces, which are these two. A little warning card. Not sure what this is for, but whatever. And then the new BCG. It's definitely interesting. I'll get her lubed up. But I guess this is the magic. I'll pull out the BCG out of that, and then we'll be able to break it down and kind of look at them all. And then we'll be able to look at my original Noveske one, and we'll look at my little makeshift setup too. We'll kind of break that all down. So if you've watched my other videos, I've kind of talked about it before, but basically I got a friend who upgraded it and whatever. He wanted the recoil system before everything kind of happened. And so he actually hooked me up with his 5.56 upper. And that's why I had this, but I didn't get to keep the recoil system. So this upgrade kit was an important part of the factor for me. I definitely wanted it. So we can kind of compare. Here we go. This is, here, for full confusion of everything. This is actually the right one for that. And I think this is for this one. Yeah. Not that that mattered a lot, but you can see there's a little bit of a size differential. This one's a little bit thicker gauge than this one. The bigger one is the original Noveske one. The little slightly thinner one was the one I got with this setup, which was kind of like a makeshift Q setup. Anyway, so we can look at all the BCGs and see their differences. All right, so we have 3 BCGs with us, the new Q one, a custom makeshift one, and then the one that came with the Noveske. So we'll kind of do a quick rundown of this. This was a JP BCG. A local shop of mine had makeshift created this and kind of did some custom milling so that these would fit inside of it. Excuse me. This would fit inside of it, and so that it could work for the Honey Badger. They also broke down these weights so they would actually shift and bounce and basically would help with bolt bounce. On the Honey Badger one, it didn't quite fix it. On 300 Blackout, it did a way better job, but on 5.56, it just couldn't quite resolve the issue, which is why I guess they created this. But we'll kind of break that down in a second. So this was the original one, then the Noveske, the PDW. For the most part, looks pretty standard, right? The biggest thing is here that this has been milled out to handle the the custom recoil system, right? Yeah. So again, at some point these changed to some degree. Here is one size, and then here is the second size, and you can see there's a little bit more play. Now, from my findings, it still shoots. I've tested them both. I mean, as long as it fits, it still shoots. But I just found there was a technical difference, which I thought was really interesting. So here's the new one. Relative size, I guess, is what's most important key. They look to be about the exact same size. What else can I note? I don't know. What else is worth noting? I do find this pretty interesting. Because of the two-piece design, it's got a really interesting wiggle. I don't know if you could see that. Inherently, I guess this isn't an issue, but as much as like every time you fire and this gets pushed back and this wiggles, I gotta think that this is gonna end up causing wear and tear that's unnecessary, right? Look, I'm not a genius, but that's just kind of the things I noticed. It's really interesting, right? Like a big part of what they said that the reason why they created this is because they couldn't get anybody to to build them in their specifications. They took some interesting things that were pretty different. I wish that they would have went ahead and used this point to like change some certain things that you're seeing more modern. Like at this price point, there's no serration cuts, right? Like a sand cutter, if you will. But you do notice there's a little bit of a partition cut here. And I wonder if that's supposed to help mitigate some of that and help chew some of that. I don't know. There is some weird, I don't know if you can see. I guess if I do that, you can kind of see. It's not the same shape as like a standard BCG, right? Where it's completely round and then it's got this channel for that oil to fit in, or lube, right? This is where I've always been taught to lubricate along those channels. And so here, I guess, you don't quite have the same lip. Maybe this whole flat surface is where you're supposed to lube. I don't know. I'll kind of watch how, when I put it in, cycle it a couple times, I'll kind of pay attention to how well it lubes, or how well the oil tracks. It's pretty interesting seeing in person. I've watched all their videos about how they castle strike these, and it's hella consistent. It's pretty cool to see. I guess I don't know if that's showing in the video. There you go, probably something like that. But yeah, like there's some machining differences that are a little bit nicer, but I don't know. I'm not an armorer, and I'm not a what the shit is it called? A dude who really knows what the hell he is. I'm just a guy who likes to shoot, and I'm just seeing the differences that I see. Since there's no forward assist, it makes sense that you don't need it. That's kind of one thing to take away from that. Other than that, you can hear some of that weight. All right, let's do the conversion on this bitch, and let's see what it looks like. All right, so new recoil system is in. All right, so I did not film the install of the recoil system because there's enough videos on that, but holy shit, is it super easy to do. And now it's like super easy to take apart the gun and put it back together. Like massively easier. Let's actually see if I can do this while filming and how big of a difference it is. All right, here we go. So big thick recoil spring now. Now you do it a little different than I originally did it, but here, I'll do it this way. And look at that. Oops. Yeah. Hey, for second time, that isn't too bad. Way fucking easier than the old recoil system. And that in itself is almost better. I'll kind of do a full breakdown of my setup at the end of the video. I'm going to talk about this, but the reason why I kept the 5.56 upper for now is because we're going to break this down now. Yeah, I'll do that on the next part. All right, so I kind of wanted to break down the two-piece design. And look, hey, some of you guys might already know it, especially anybody with the new 5.56 upper. But in case you don't know it, actually, I think I saw it at a gun store. Even the Sugar Weasel now come with these. So I think it's quite a few people have seen it. But in any case, in case you haven't, we kind of break down the whole thing and talk about it and why I'm excited about this little guy, right? So, as you probably already know, Q barrels come tapered, right? So the entire barrel is tapered. And this basically just butts into it and gives you the cherry bomb pitch, right? So this is basically the same as this. This is an actual cherry bomb in 1/2 inch, so for 5.56. And so, yeah, so this is basically the same as that bottom piece. The only difference is they actually separated the difference at the top, right? And so here, the two-piece design works is that it's also threaded in, but it goes inside of that. So you can kind of see this is basically what's happening right here. That's basically all that's happening. So it threads in on itself. One of the really interesting things about these is, so when they shipped these out, they didn't quite have the tools ready to remove them all. So you end up, they sell them now. You can get them now. They're these Q 3D printed tool set, and I mean they're nice. They're really, really cool. Inherently, I'm worried about this particular design and how these teeth work, and we'll get to that in a sec. But the first one is the 3-prong. So fits in, you're able to torque it, 1/2 inch, drive socket, easy peasy. The next one is this, and if you can see, it's got a bunch of holes. And this 3D printed one, while it has the teeth, you can see I've only taken it off a few times. Now, I probably take it off more than most people have because I was testing some things when I first got this upper, and I said it in the beginning of the video. I personally, while this is great for just non-suppressed, I do feel like this chews the baffle of suppressors a little too much. And so I like sacrificial blast baffles, right? So I thoroughly like cherry bombs. I know they suck to shoot without suppressors, but they do their job. And like this has no corrosion at all in it. And so, you know, for a 9-inch barrel, really, you know, just under 10-inch barrel, I've shot a couple thousand rounds, probably like 1,000-ish rounds with this on, and it looks great. But anyways, I'm sorry. So I'm a firm believer in sacrificial blast baffles. So I think inherently in my head, I am a little concerned about this particular product and the fact that, I mean, good news is that it's 1/2 inch drive still, right? So you can thread it on. I don't need a special tool. I don't need another 3D printed thing. So I'll lock this in, thread it on, and I'll Loctite it or whatever, or rock set it, excuse me. I guess typically I don't rock set them because I fuck with my shit a little too much. And that's a me problem. I understand that's a me thing. I might end up rock setting this because this is not tapered. Now, I do see that it's a little bit tapered on the edge here, but I wonder if that's enough to give it enough surface area to really lock it down. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I did have problems with this coming loose. I did a AR class with this here in Tulsa with DSA. We probably shot 600, 800 rounds in a 2-day span. And I noticed that on at the end of day 2 that this was loose. And so I had to tighten it back up. Now, that could have been my fault, maybe because I didn't use rock set or because I didn't torque it down properly or whatever. So maybe that's my fault. But I am hyper concerned that if this doesn't stay in, then I'm going to end up getting some baffle strikes. So I will torque this all the way down. I might even rock set it. But again, I switch things around a lot, so I'll take this off a lot. I'll always check this, but it is something that I'm not super thrilled about. I still want to run this system because I want it to be a part of the original system. But yeah, so it's interesting. It's smaller than the original one, and that makes sense because this was originally designed for 300 Blackout, right? I know that this pitch in thread is for 1/2 inch, you know, so it's for 5.56, but this part of it was designed for 300 Blackout, whereas this was designed for 5.56. So this is way smaller, way narrower. I feel like one thing, look, I'm not an engineer. I don't know how you could do it, but it would have been cool if they could have directionally vented this so that as it shot, it tightened, kind of like what Hux does with their cans. I don't know how true it is. I don't know how real it is, but if you could just push the energy to maintain the direction to keep it tight, that would have been cool. Now, obviously it's too thin to actually make that work, but again, in a perfect world, that's what I would have done in my like stupid imaginary head of how to make this shit work. Other than that, yeah, I guess I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to share. Any other differences, you know, in terms of total length when you put it on? Total length, we're about the exact same. It's slightly shorter. I don't know if you could tell. Just a C hair shorter. Again, it's just ever so slightly thinner. Ever so slightly. I guess, I imagine the camera's not picking it up, but it is just a little bit smaller. Not a huge deal, just kind of pointing out what it is. Yeah, I'm going to install this and we'll go from there. All right, we have it installed now. So you can kind of see it. New and fancy and clean. Again, we'll run some tests through it. Oh, the mic just fell out. We'll run some tests through it and make sure that it stays on and give any feedback and kind of go from there. Yeah, that's what I got. So we're at the range now. I have the Noveske ready to go with the new Q recoil system. As you can see, my contraption actually broke, so we won't be using that today. But that's why you test it and make it work. Anyways, so from here, I got Remington 120 grain supers. I'm going to use the new recoil system and just see how it goes. Now, because of my SD Handguard, I can't shoot unsuppressed with the Handguard on, right? So I have to take the whole system. So yeah, 5 rounds of supers. Let's see how it goes. Perfect. All right, let's try subs. Next, we have some Winchester 200 grain subsonic. So this is pretty light for subsonic. From what I know, 300 Blackout without a can, subs might not cycle. So I don't think that speaks to the recoil system. I think that's just a normal 300 thing. We'll see if it does though. All right, here we go. Okay. Also, I forgot how awesome 300 is. Cycles without an issue. So just to recap that, I'm actually really surprised that cycled. I knew Noveskes are really overgassed. That's kind of like one of the things they do for civilian rifles is to make sure they can run on everything, right? But maybe that just shows how overgassed it is, right? I don't think that's a recoil system thing. I think that is a Noveske thing. So just feedback, take it for what it is. Now we have it with the handguard back on, Q Honey Badger can, and yeah, so I'm gonna do the supers first. Again, we're doing some Remington 120 grain supers. Here we go. Awesome. The subs now, which is really what 300 Blackout's for, right? So we have the subs. I have 2 different types of subsonic that I'm going to play with us now, because this is how I will actually shoot my gun as much as, like, this is the only way I shoot my gun. But I'll have a Sellers 200 grain and also a Winchester 200 grain. Right? 2 different mags. Now this is the Winchester. The Honey Badger recoil system still works on 300 Blackout Noveske. So if you were thinking about getting it, get it. Takedown's way better. Like, yeah, it's expensive, but most Q shit is. But from a, oh, you know what? I'll throw the 5.56 upper back on it, and we'll shoot. We'll do some slow-mo, and we'll see if the bolt bounce is better. I guess that's the one thing we need to do on this. But fuck, 300 Blackout's awesome. Just how much easier this is on the new setup. I haven't practiced anymore, so this is the same like skill number as the last video. Yeah, so like the spring retention is so much lighter. Like, how was this not how it was originally designed? It's crazy. All right, so one thing I'm also curious about before I put my can on is I have tuned the gas system to be pretty spot on for the type of ammo I use and for my can. So it just always pretty much rocks the Polonium K for now. I'm waiting for the lefty to come out, but until then, I'm going to use the Polonium K on this. But the gas system's pretty much tuned for that. In the past, if I don't have a can on, it won't cycle. I use just Winchester 855, 55 grain. I like a consistent bullet. It's not the best, but it works for most of what I do. So yeah, we'll see how this does on no can. It shouldn't cycle. Well, it didn't used to. Let's see what happens with the new recoil system. Fuck, I forgot how loud that shit is. God damn. Yep, so it did not cycle. All right, so we'll do one more. Woo! All right. Oh, 969 things, right? And that's on that new two-piece setup, right? Which I probably should have checked on how tight it was, but I guess we'll send another couple too, and then we'll go from there. Woo! God damn, that's fucking awesome. Oh, shit, yeah. Fuck. I fucking love that. That shoots so soft, so great. I mean, that shoots softer than the 300 Blackout does with supers. Now, obviously, I think the adjustable gas system helps that. And so maybe one day I'll throw an adjustable gas system on that. But the nice thing about that is, as we saw, it shoots with pretty much any fucking ammo. And so there's something to be said about like total flexibility. Whereas with this is so fine-tuned that it does not shoot with everything. So, you know, I'll probably leave the 300 as is and just rock this. Man, that fucking shot great. I'm gonna do a couple more mags of this before I go home. All right. Really, I wish everybody got to shoot how soft shooting this honey badger is. So Noveske. So again, just the I guess tip to butt build out of this setup. It's on a Polonium K Ecco machine hub adapter with that two-piece Q setup. Right now it's got the cherry bomb and then the hub adapter underneath. I have an Eotech OGL on there. Oh, I forgot, we've kind of done a full breakdown of this already, haven't I? Maybe I don't need to do it. Anyways, anyways, for anybody else who doesn't know, this is the MD-21 with that multi-reticle, that ACSS multi-reticle. I fucking love this. I love these so much. The mount's kind of mid. I haven't had any issues with it. I just, aesthetically, I'm not sure if I like the harsh angle of the mount, but it is what it is. It's cheap. 221, 226 height. But yeah, I like it. It shoots so soft for 5.56. I know 5.56 doesn't kick anyways, but man, this shoots softer than almost any of my other 5.56s. Maybe my angled port setup shoots about the same, but that's a 12 on a mid-length gas system. This is a 9.69, 9-inch barrel. What, just under 10-inch, and it shoots so soft. I mean, just incredible. Now, 1 in 5 twist is interesting, right? We know that it has its positive and negatives, but you know, it tends to. I think that's what causes people to have a little bit less accuracy out of it. I think for the most part, at 100 yards, I'm at like 1.5 MOA, 1.5 MOA, which, you know, isn't great, but it's not terrible either, right? And I'm not a good shooter, so maybe you can get more out of it. But even at short distances, you'll see that it like kind of spreads out a little bit more than maybe some other guns. I think it's the 1.5, 1 to 5 twist. But like anything else, aim small, miss small, you're probably going to hit what you're hitting at. You're not using this for 300 yards. I'm never using this for 300 yards. But anything 150 in, I'd rock it, I'd use it, I'd be confident. Especially if you were to get a whole bunch of that like really heavy grain bullets, of 77 grain, like the 86 grain, 82 grain. I think it would kill it, but I just haven't played with that much. But just looking online, that's looks looking like the sweet spot. But for now, for range day, for shooting events, man, this is probably my go-to.